Now, after 2 weeks of high-level talks involving hundreds of world leaders, the Copenhagen Climate Conference has closed. Both President Obama and the UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon have admitted that the deal is not all that it should be. Delegates have voted simply to take note of a climate accord reached between the United States and other major economies, with no mention of a legally binding treaty. Our environment correspondent, David Shukman, reports from Copenhagen.
2 years of preparation, 2 weeks of talking, and at the end of it, most countries reluctantly accepting a deal brokered by America. No one here seems enthused by it, even the normally upbeat UN Secretary-General.
It will take more than this to definitively tackle climate change, but it is a step in the right direction.
Last night, President Obama secured agreement from a handful of key countries, but others objected, like the delegate who'd come all the way from distant Tuvalu, a tiny island nation in the Pacific where rising seas threaten to wipe it off the map.
Can I suggest, in biblical terms, it looks like we're being offered 30 pieces of silver to betray our people and our future.
On targets for cutting greenhouse gases, the hope was for global emissions to peak by 2020. Instead, the accord talks of that as soon as possible. On aid, the poorest countries had demanded at least $200 billion a year, but the deal speaks of $100 billion by 2020, though it's not clear how. And on warming itself, the aim was a goal of a maximum rise of 2 degrees Celsius by the end of the century. The agreement speaks of acting with a view to achieving that. The Climate Change Secretary Ed Miliband, who'd worked through the night, put a brave face on the outcome.
It marks a real sense that developing and developed countries, despite their constraints, want to tackle the problem.
Still disappointing.
It is disappointing not to have got the legally binding treaty.
I now declare the meeting closed.
Relief at the end of this marathon session. It has kept alive the prospect of a binding agreement in future, but also revealed just how difficult that'll be.
David Shukman reporting. Well, President Obama has tonight told the American people in a TV address from the White House that real progress had been made at the climate change talks in Copenhagen.
For the first time in history, all of the world's major economies have come together to accept their responsibility to take action to confront the threat of climate change. After extremely difficult and complex negotiations, this important breakthrough lays the foundation for international action in the years to come. This progress did not come easily, and we know that progress on this particular aspect of climate change negotiations is not enough. Going forward, we're going to have to build on the momentum that we established in Copenhagen to ensure that international action to significantly reduce emissions is sustained and sufficient over time. At home, that means continuing our efforts to build a clean energy economy that has the potential to create millions of new jobs and new industries. And it means passing legislation that will create the incentives necessary to spark this clean energy revolution. So, even though we have a long way to go, there's no question that we've accomplished a great deal over the last few days. And I want America to continue to lead on this journey. Because if America leads in developing clean energy, we will lead in growing our economy and putting our people back to work and leaving a stronger and more secure country to our children. That's why I went to Copenhagen yesterday, and that's why I will continue in these efforts in the weeks and months to come. Thank you very much, everybody.
The time is 18 minutes past.